Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I always thought I knew Emily. She's been my wife for 8 years. And in all that time, I'd watched her laugh, tease, and brighten every room she entered. People called her magnetic, but I thought of her as mine, ours, really. I guess I never questioned how others saw her. I never worried about the way her smile could turn heads or how coworkers would linger a little too long in her presence. That kind of confidence? I admired it, loved it even. It was the annual company gala, and I was actually excited for once. I don't usually enjoy these things, preferring quiet dinners or movie nights at home, but Emily insisted. She wore a deep emerald dress, the kind that somehow made her look both elegant and playful at the same time. I held her hand as we walked inside, my chest swelling with a mix of pride and nervousness. The music was upbeat, almost intoxicating. Couples twirled on the dance floor, and the laughter floated above it all, easy and carefree. Emily dragged me toward the middle, teasing that I was too stiff to stand on the sidelines. I laughed along, letting her lead, and for a moment, it felt like nothing else mattered. That's when it happened. A tall man in a sharp suit approached her. Someone I recognized vaguely, a project manager named Spencer. I'd seen him around the office but never interacted much. He smiled at Emily, complimenting her on her dress, and I felt that tiny flicker of unease that always arrives when someone new enters the frame. He offered his hand, and before I could react, Emily hesitated, then smiled politely and stepped toward him. Just for a moment. It was innocent enough, I told myself. After all, it was a dance at a public event. But then I noticed Spencer's colleague, a younger guy named Ryan. Tall, lean, and with a confident smile that seemed rehearsed. He sidled up to Emily, leaning casually, and whispered something. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw her laugh. Not the easy laugh she reserved for me, but a startled, playful one. The kind that betrays a sudden rush of adrenaline. Ryan's hand brushed against hers, tentative, inviting. If you're free, take me, he said. My stomach twisted, a mix of disbelief and panic I couldn't shake off. My Emily, my wife. Her eyes went wide, a flash of recognition crossing her face, and she stumbled backward like she'd just remembered something urgent. Her smile faltered. She grabbed my arm, murmuring, "Come on, let's go sit for a second." Her voice pitched slightly higher than normal. Panic, real panic, the kind that makes someone fumble their own composure. I guided her to a small corner by the refreshments, trying to mask the knot forming in my chest. "Everything okay?" I asked casually, but my voice probably betrayed me. She shook her head, took a deep breath, and laughed nervously, brushing off the moment like it had never happened. But I saw it. I saw the way her hand trembled ever so slightly when she took a glass of water. We sat in silence for a moment, and I couldn't help but think about all the times I trusted her implicitly. From the mundane, like grocery shopping together, to the profound, like moving into our first house. And now, in this strange, fluorescent-lit ballroom with music pounding in the background, I realized trust could feel fragile. Fragile and surprising. Emily's gaze flicked toward Spencer and Ryan across the room. They were laughing together, leaning close, and for a second, I felt that old, familiar fear rising. The fear of losing her to someone else, not because she wanted to leave me, but because she wanted attention, recognition, a spark that maybe I hadn't noticed was fading. She started, her voice trailing off. She looked down at her hands, twisting her fingers in a nervous rhythm. "It's nothing, really. I just didn't expect that." But I could feel it. The tension, the almost imperceptible hesitation. The way she instinctively reached for my hand even as she tried to step back from theirs. It was confusing, a collision of instinct and propriety. I didn't say anything at first. I let her collect herself, let the music and chatter fill the space between us. Then, quietly, I asked, "Do you want to talk about it?" Her eyes met mine, and for a moment, there was nothing but honesty. Fear, maybe even guilt, but also relief that I hadn't reacted harshly. I just wasn't expecting him to approach me like that. I panicked, she admitted. Panic. That word stuck with me. It wasn't lust. It wasn't desire. It was the raw, human response to an unexpected moment. But still, something about seeing her hesitate, even just for a heartbeat, stirred something in me. Not anger yet, not betrayal yet, but that prickling awareness of fragility in the thing I thought was unshakable, my marriage, my trust, was there. And in that moment, I realized that tonight wasn't just a gala. It was a mirror, a reflection of how easily moments can shift, how quickly appearances can deceive, and how even the strongest bonds can tremble under the weight of small, unforeseen choices. I could feel the music fading into the background, replaced by the rapid thump of my own heartbeat. Emily's confession hung in the air, fragile and uncertain, like glass teetering on the edge of a table. I squeezed her hand gently, trying to steady both of us, and she looked at me, really looked, as if weighing whether I would judge her or simply understand. I didn't know how to react, she whispered. He's always been so confident. I panicked because I wasn't expecting it. I nodded slowly, digesting her words. Panic. That was all it was. Not flirting, not betrayal, just a momentary lapse of composure. But the weight of it pressed down on me, not in anger, but in the awareness that this was a reminder. Even people we trust completely can surprise us. And surprises, even tiny ones, can shake the ground beneath our feet. Across the room, Spencer was talking animatedly with another colleague, completely oblivious to what had just happened. Ryan, meanwhile, was laughing in a way that seemed effortless, as though nothing mattered, as though he'd won a prize simply by catching her attention for a brief moment. And in that contrast, I felt something shift inside me. Not jealousy, not insecurity, clarity. I leaned closer to Emily. Hey, I said softly. Whatever happens, we deal with it together. You and me. Always. Right? Her eyes glistened, a faint sheen that caught the light like dew on a morning leaf. She nodded, her hand tightening around mine. Right? She murmured. Relief, gratitude, and a little fear intertwined in her voice. It was a delicate balance, like walking on a tightrope above a crowd of whispers. We stayed there for a few minutes, letting the room spin around us while we simply existed in our own small bubble. And then, slowly, Emily exhaled and laughed. The real Emily laugh, not the startled one, and said, I think I need to step back for a second. Just breathe. I didn't question it. I watched her weave through the crowd, weaving past Spencer and Ryan, past the tables of appetizers and glasses of champagne, and find a quiet corner near the exit. She leaned against the wall, resting her forehead against it for a moment, taking in deep, shaky breaths. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about the dance. It wasn't even about Spencer or Ryan. It was about us, about trust, about the invisible threads that bind people together and the moments when those threads tremble so slightly that you wonder if they can hold. I walked over and leaned beside her, not touching her, just being there. Emily, I said quietly, it's okay to feel panic. It doesn't make you weak. It just makes you human. Her shoulders sagged slightly, the tension in her neck easing. I know. I hate that I let it scare me. I hate that for a second, I didn't think of us. You did think of us, I replied. That's why you came over here. That's why you didn't just laugh it off or let it happen. You remembered where your heart belongs. We sat like that for several minutes, letting the music and chatter wash over us without interference. I realized then that clarity wasn't about perfection or avoiding mistakes. It was about awareness, acknowledgement, and choosing each other every time, even when fear tried to pull you away. Eventually, Emily turned to me, her eyes soft but steady. I'm sorry for panicking. I really am. And I know I startled you. I smiled, a small, knowing smile. You startled me because I care, I said. But more importantly, you reminded me that I care too, enough to notice, enough to pause, enough to protect what we have. She reached for my hand again, this time without hesitation, without tremor. I needed you to notice, she admitted. And you did. And in that simple exchange, in that quiet acknowledgement, I realized something profound. Love isn't flawless. It isn't smooth. It isn't immune to moments of fear, panic, or uncertainty. But love is resilient in the small ways, in the choices you make when no one else is watching. It's in holding a hand through a moment of panic, in listening instead of judging, in choosing understanding over anger. By the time the gala ended, I wasn't just relieved. I was grateful. Grateful that Emily and I had navigated a small storm without breaking, without regret, without words that could wound. Grateful that the threads of trust, though slightly frayed, had not snapped. And as we stepped outside into the cool night air, I squeezed her hand, letting her feel the quiet assurance of what we'd both just realized. That the strongest love isn't the one without challenges. It's the one that survives them. Emily looked up at me, a mischievous smile playing on her lips. "Next time," she teased softly, "you dance with me first." I laughed, a full, genuine laugh, because in that moment, nothing else mattered. Not Spencer, not Ryan, not the panic or the tension. What mattered was us. And somehow, after all the unexpected twists and fragile moments, we were still here. Together, stronger, and more aware of the fragile beauty that binds two people through every stumble, panic, and choice.